welcome to Thursday Night Live. This is Real Reds Talk, and we have a jam-packed show today with me, myself, Detail Dave, Authentic Adam, and the legend, the Eccles Ultra, and the 10K Phenom, Jay Motty from Stretford Paddock. How you doing, mate?
What an intro, man. Hey,
Yeah.
the Eccles legend and the 10K Phenom. I'll have a bit of that. Hey, I don't know if I'll be a 10K Phenom next time I'm doing one. I'll probably be crawling across that finish line in the Great Manchester Run, but yeah, I've been called a lot worse, so I'll have that one.
I remember we mentioned last time it was like 5K, and you was like, hey up, mate. This isn't 5K.
Yeah,
now.
man, you sold me short last time.
This
It's like 5K now. It's like, well, 5K is like 20 tackle. Come on.
Yeah, so I had to make sure. Alongside us today, we've got Dave and Adam as well. How you doing, lads?
Yeah, one man yourself.
Very good, very good. I've had my dinner now. My din-dins. My belly's full. I've had a drink, so I'm ready to go.
What have you had for you say? What you say dinner?
Yeah, well,
from your ends. What's this dinner business? Why are you having your dinner at 8 o'clock at night?
Because I've been busy.
When you gonna have your tea? 3 in the morning.
It's a good point. I've had my tea, late night live, late night tea. You know what I'm saying? Just before, got to get refueled before we go live.
Don't tell me you call. You'll be using the word lunch next.
Yeah, I'm have to
disown you.
I can only apologise at this point. Adam, how are you doing, mate? You had any late night tea dinner?
No, I'm actually probably awake now over about 18 hours. I'm in the middle of exams, but good to be here.
Yeah, just had as many energy drinks as you possibly could obtain.
Yeah.
What exams is it you doing, bro?
As long as a lot of kind of pharmaceutical stuff, so it's a lot of chemistry.
Yeah,
so,
really. Nice.
Is he Breaking Bad?
Is that what you're going to make him meth and that?
Yeah, that's what he's doing, basically.
Crystal meth. Fair play to you, man. It's growing industry. You know what I mean?
Allegedly. Anyway, we're going to dive straight into this. I've got one question for you, okay, Jay? A hypothetical question. You're on death row, hypothetically, unless the Glazers stay. You've got your last meal or the last drink, and you've got an Alexa on the side. It's a bit of a bougie prison. But you can command them whatever song you want, your last meal and your last drink. Yeah. What are you choosing and why?
What's the method of execution?
I mean, if you want to pick your method of execution, you're more than welcome to. I don't know, guillotine, maybe?
Guillotine, old school. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, if I'm going to get like the electric chair or whatever, I don't want anything that's going to come out the other end when I'm getting electrocuted.
But
that's what I'm saying.
You won't be here, will you? So
no, but you want to go out like that and be remembered. Or that there's the guy that shot himself when he got electrocuted. So I'm going to go for something nice and solid. I'm a proper beige guy, me, with my meals. So it'll be steak and chips.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I like a bit of porterhouse steak. Maybe I'll have some mayonnaise potatoes, seeing as I'm not paying for it. Yeah, bit of sauteed asparagus on the side.
Wow.
I love my cheesecake, so I'll have vanilla cheesecake. I'm not going to go too extravagant on that one. Bit of Pepsi Max cherry, and on the Alexa, I'll have Massive Attack Unfinished Sympathy.
Okay, old school. I like it. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Lads, I'm not going to ask you a similar question. I've gone for a bit of a different one. Have you seen Men in Black, first and foremost? Adam and Dave, yeah? You've seen the memory pen. What is one memory you would wipe away in relation to Manchester United, and what is one you really want to keep? Or one that is hold a special place in your heart, let's say?
I think the obvious one that comes to head is the Aguero moment.
God,
hopefully with all that, breaking those rules.
You don't need a memory pen for that. The FA are gonna do that for you. They're gonna erase that memory. Please. Right, when they go through it and they go, no, that doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I was gonna say, you got the Liverpool title win, but that's kind of got an asterisk as well because there were no fans there. So,
Isn't it mad, man? Do you know what? Right?
Let's say the 7-0.
That's a good point because I still forget they won that title. Like I hate Liverpool with a passion, but that almost slips under the radar because there was no fans there and all that, and it was a crazy time with COVID. I was like, oh yeah, they won it, didn't they? It's so like. Because you didn't have it in your face like you did with the City one as well, first City one. So yeah, man, it's always madness that.
I like both answers there, though. What's one memory you'd like to keep, Dave? Something that holds special in your heart, something personal, maybe? Not Manchester United. Putting you a bit on the spot here, to be honest. Adam, did you say one? Or you both went for the negatives there, didn't you?
Went for the negative, yeah.
The Aguero and the Liverpool 7-0.
Negative.
Yeah, Jesus.
Feels like it's only negatives these days.
I know.
You know what? I'll say that period under Ollie, when he first joined, that was like, it was so morbid under Jose. And then Ollie joined. We beat like fucking whoever it was 5-1. and then we did Paris. Like I've never celebrated anything so hard as that Paris night, man.
Yeah.
I sound like Steve Elson throwing a chair. I didn't go that bad, but like,
yeah, it was nice that because it got so like it was so muddied under Jose Mourinho, wasn't it? By the time he went, Solskjaer came in, it was just like the shackles are off. Do what you want, lads, and play with freedom. We went on such a good running streak. Adam, we're gonna have to push you for an answer for your good memories, very quick.
I think that John Terry slip, or like it's one kind of big memory that does pop out.
Yes,
and I nearly broke my neck that night. So,
oh wow, fucking hell. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later on if we've got time. Lovely answers there from both sides, and what a way to start the show. Before we actually start what we're going to speak about with Manchester United and all that kind of jazz, instead of people getting guillotined, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash the like on the video, and if you want to become a real Red Ultra for exclusive content every Monday, a chance to feature on the show, or basically just support the channel in general, then you can do that by clicking the join button next to the notification bell. On today's show, we're going to discuss the forever ongoing ownership. We've had even more developments today, which we'd love to pick Jay's brain about. So I can't wait for that. The Tin Pot Club, Manchester City, as others may know him, beat Real Madrid last night, placing them in the final of the Champions League and a potential treble. We're the ones who could, basically knock them out in the FA Cup final. And then you've got to rely on Inter Milan as well. So I want to ask the lads about that. And then maybe a bit of a Q&A if we've got time towards the end. So we'll just kick things off with the ownership. With everything going on, Jay, we've heard a couple of days ago, so Jim Ratcliffe's in pole position. Now Qatar apparently put a new bid in. I know you're probably sick of covering it yourself. There's been that many stories and angles where it's coming from. But where's your head at with this situation currently? Do you have a preferred bidder? What do you think's best for the club?
Very good question. Like I'll sort of explain my thinking because there's no easy answer to this one. Yeah. Like if you'd asked me this a year ago, I'd have said to Jim Ratcliffe all the way. Not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect owner, but the noises were he's a United fan. He's willing to invest in the team and the club itself, and we can finally end the Glazer nightmare. Now, fast forward, and some of that still seems true, but some of it doesn't. With his bid, there's talk of maybe the Glazers staying on. I'm not mad keen on that, I'll be honest with you, of keeping them on as minority shareholders. But if it came to it, them not being in control of the football club but still having a minor stake is better than what we're at now. So I would rather that than we stay with the Glazers completely. It's still an improvement. It's not the ideal scenario, but it's improvement. With the Sheikh Jassim bid, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of sports washing. I'm just not. I wasn't when City got took over by the Abu Dhabi group. I wasn't when Newcastle got took over by Saudi group. And I'd be a hypocrite if I said, oh, well, that's what I want for Manchester United. I don't. I do understand. I've got friends and family members who do want that because they don't want sports washing, but they want a Qatari bid because new stadium almost guaranteed, mad money spent on transfers, a new training ground. Now, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe can do those things, then I'd be more for him. But it still remains to be seen what his plans are because there's all this talk that he's going to make United a community club, but without any specifics. So they're both flawed. I sort of, if you put a gun to my head, would rather us not be part of a sports washing enterprise if push comes to shove. But I get that that's, that might be the sort of the way we end up. And also that might be the one that sort of guarantees you the new stadium and all that other sort of stuff. It's just, it leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth because I never wanted that for Manchester United. I didn't. When I saw City doing that, I just thought I wouldn't want to just be state-owned. There's nothing against the Qatari state, by the way. I wouldn't want a British state or, the French state or the Czechoslovakian state or Czech Republic or whatever. I just don't want a state owning us. Yeah. Because then, I think McCullough said it once on a video I was on with him. He said, then you sort of side to whatever that state does, especially if that state's got questionable human rights record. So it's paper thin margins. They've both got the pros and cons. One thing I will say, I know it's a long-winded answer, but if you three lads disagree and you're like, no, 100% want Qatar, I ain't going to argue with you. What we've got too much of at the minute, I see online, is everyone arguing with each other. People having digs. If you want Ratcliffe, you're a Glazer stooge. If you want Qatar, you don't care about gay people. If you want Ratcliffe, you're racist. None of those things are true. If you prefer one bid, it's because you think that's the better way for Manchester United to progress. I get it. We're all United fans. Just like you might think that it should be Anthony on the right wing or it should be Jadon Sancho, whatever. We might differ on our opinions, but we all want United to be successful. So listen, I'm not going to knock anyone for having a different view from me, and I'm not exactly pro Sir Jim Ratcliffe, especially if it means Avram and Joel are going to still have a seat on the board or whatever. But just about, for me, that's probably preferable.
So I've had splinters in my arse since the start of this. I've really been on the fence about it because you just don't know. Both have pros, both have cons. I think personally the Qatari bid would be the best for the club in terms of cash injection and the future of the club. I'm not too sure about Sir Jim's bid. But again, there's pros and negatives as well. I could be here for days discussing them. We've got quite a few people in the chat. Make sure you smash a like on the video and get your questions in. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A towards the end with Jay. So make sure you drop them in. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And also, just the last bit before I go to Adam on this, I think the important point is we and the bidders don't continue to let the Glazers play parties against each other endlessly to the club's detriment, because this is slowly dragging into the summer window now, and the long-term effects it could have for next season as well. We saw it last summer, everything that was going on there in the transfer window and how it affected us. So that's just something I don't want as well. I just want it sorted ASAP, and I think a lot of United fans would probably agree with that. But Adam, you've been conversing in the Qatari journalist in Twitter Spaces and private DMs. So do you think this new bid will be enough from Qatar?
Tough one, because technically with the Sir Jim kind of bid, he values the club overall when he does buy the remaining shares. It'd be a bit higher than the Qatari bid. I think the Qatari bid is in the region of 5.6, and then they've pledged about 700 million in terms of like some progress off the pitch. Will it be enough? I don't know. They've bypassed the Rain Group, and they've kind of gone over them, gone directly to the Glazers, and then there was the whole thing with staying in one of the Sheik's father's hotels. And now I know they own most of London at this point, they do, but it seemed a little suspicious, and they would have known as well that the papers would have talked about this as well. Will it be enough? I don't know. You could go into another round of bids. The only winners here are sadly the Glazers. The longer it goes on, the more, as Jay pointed out, fans are being divided. And right now we need fans to be actually united more than anything. 12 months ago, I would have probably eaten your hand off if you offered me the Sir Jim bid. We called it out last summer as well. But we've kind of seen what the Qatari bid and the promises that they've kind of made as well. And that's maybe swinging a lot of fans over in that direction. But we haven't really seen like a clear path what Ineos and Sir Jim would do. So I feel maybe it mightn't be enough yet.
Yeah, you make a very good point there. We've heard as well, actually, Dave, that the prospect of a preferred bidder being declared this week has been ruled out entirely, and it's not certain that the process can be resolved by the end of the month. That's coming from James Ducker in the Telegraph. So it's looking like this transfer window is going to basically turn into Sky Cavi twiddling his pen on deadline day for the wrong reasons. How frustrated are you, when you hear things like this, and how much will this affect us for next season going into that, do you think?
It's already affecting us, isn't it? All the noise you're hearing is like, we can't really make proper plans. I feel like that's where we're getting linked to like the likes of Rabiot a bit more than we probably would be at this stage, because even though we were linked to him last summer, that he was still sort of a cheaper option, wasn't he? It was only then we got beat in the first two games. We're like, actually, no, there you go, Casemiro, Anthony, there you go, everything's fine. I think we're in a similar sort of position. The sale is definitely affecting the plans going forward. How could it not? How can be a plan for the future when you don't know what your budget's going to be? It's literally impossible. It is extremely frustrating.
Yeah. Look, we're speaking about super wealth, and this was kind of the next topic I wanted to discuss. You saw Manchester City last night. I know this is a daunting topic, lads, and this actually does kind of tie in with what we were speaking about. Last night, Man City dominated Real Madrid to get to the Champions League final. They've basically won the league already, and we play them in the FA Cup final before. But before we discussed that massive game, I was watching it last night. These guys are bringing on the likes of Foden, Mahrez, World Cup winning Julian Alvarez. Jade, in order to compete with teams like Manchester City in the league, or teams in Europe on a consistent basis, do you think we're going to need super wealth?
No, I don't, because I'll tell you why. I still think if we don't get super wealth, we can still be successful. If we don't get Super Wealth, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, that's us done. That's it now. We're never going to win the league. We're never going to win the Champions League. I don't think like that. So, yes, Super Wealth makes it easier, but you've also got FFP. Don't forget, City have got to answer to that. And that is a thing now. You can ignore it all you want, but it is happening. Chelsea have just given... Chelsea have just given the... Well, City have appealed, or they've raised an issue. I think today the Times broke it because the guy that's overseeing it is an Arsenal fan, which is a load of nonsense. They're not going to get a City fan to do it, are they? Yeah. But you saw the contracts that Chelsea were handing out to Mudryk and them 8 years to try and get round FFP because they are clamping down on that. So that is going to limit you a little bit. But Manchester United, don't forget, we're not furnishing this debt and we're not giving them all these dividends. That's a lot more money. We've spent $1 billion on transfers and we've spent another $1 billion on having the Glazers own us. Yeah. So if we didn't have the Glazer ownership, we just had owners that didn't have a load of debt and take loads of dividends. That could be an extra $1 billion that could be invested in the team. So I don't believe you only need the super wealth. I think you need to clear the debt so you've got more money to spend on players and to invest in the structure and infrastructure and stuff. But I'm not going to sit here if we end up with... And let's not forget as well, people are going, Jim Ratcliffe's not got the money, he's not that. I'm not here to bang his drum, but he's obviously a wealthy guy. He's like Britain's richest man. He's got billions. He's worth 3 times what Abramovich was worth. So he is super wealthy. He's just not using all his own money to buy United. But going back to your original point, that I don't think you do. I think one thing you need is you need to spend the money in the proper way. Now, City obviously spent a lot of money, but if you look at what they've done, they've had a plan. They've had a structure. Now, Pep Guardiola is obviously taking it to a new level, but they won a title under Pellegrini. They won a title under Roberto Mancini. I don't think Manuel Pellegrini is a particularly gifted manager. I don't. I think he's all right.
Yeah, I agree.
Even Mancini, I think he's all right. So why did they win titles? Are they geniuses like Pep, apparently? No. They've just got a structure in there that works, that helps you have continued success. And they went with that long term. In 2008, when Abu Dhabi bought bought Manchester City, United had just won the Champions League. Pep Guardiola had just taken over as manager of Barcelona. And they started to put a plan in place, a long-term plan. It wasn't even that long. It took them 4 years before they won a title. But they had a structure. So they're going to get people in charge of the footballing side of things that understand football, that can work with a manager. When they knew they wanted Pep Guardiola, they brought the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling before Guardiola arrives because they know they're his type of players. Let me ask you a question. How many bad signings have City made? Genuinely. Recently, in the last 3 or 4 years?
I mentioned this on a show the other day. I was looking at just our recruitment in general. When we signed like an accumulation, Fred, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire for 180 million. I think City got Haaland, De Bruyne and Cancelo for the same price. So it just goes to show the recruitment and the levels. And that's certainly been an issue because our bench on Saturday, we've got players look, Elanga and players like this work really hard. I like him. I've got nothing against him whatsoever, but we've got Vegas on the bench, Elanga, Fred, Maguire, Butland, and the drop-off is just way too much. That's why I'm saying, maybe you're right about the super well thing, but we need quality in all positions to compete.
But just going back to that point, yeah. And again, I don't want to come across like I'm anti-Qatar or pro Sir Jim Ratcliffe because I'm not. But Qatar bought PSG and have spent as much money as any club in the history of football. Now, their goal was to win the Champions League. They've been at one final. They've had seasons where they haven't even won the league. And they spend, I think it's 9 times more than the nearest club to them or something ridiculous. Yeah. So the disparity
Top
between
10
them
is all their players, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, and they've had seasons where the manager's been sacked. I think they've sacked about 5 managers in the last 12 years or something stupid. Even Ancelotti didn't win the Champions League when he went there. So you can spend loads of money and do it in the wrong way. We've spent $1 billion and we've wasted 80 million on Maguire. 79 million on Lukaku, making Alexis Sanchez the highest paid player in the history of the Premier League. Di Maria breaking the transfer record for Angel Di Maria. Then you've got others that cost a little bit of money but weren't up to the job. Pogba wasn't really the player before. Morgan Schneiderlin, Radamel Falcao, Memphis Depay. I don't need to tell you guys, but you can misspend money. So it's not just about having money. Because you could end up doing what we've already done. But instead of misspending $1 billion, we misspent 1.5 billion. Yeah. So you have to have a structure in place. You have to have someone who works for the manager Tiki Bergistan, whatever his name is, works with Pep Guardiola. They know each other and they work together. Pep Guardiola's not scouting all these players. He didn't scout Ruben Diaz. He didn't scout Rodri. He didn't scout Cancelo even. He didn't. I know Cancelo's moved on now, or he's on loan at Bayern. But the successful players have had, he might know, scouted one or two of them. They've got a structure in place. They've got people that can help the manager find the players that he needs. And so, look, this player works under your system. The Scousers did it with Salah. Salah was a long-term target for him. Like, same with Van Dijk. They went for Van Dijk. They didn't get him. So what did they do? Did they go out and buy someone else? No, they waited till the next window because they had a structure. It's like, he's our long-term plan. If we don't get him in this window, we'll get him in the January. They did, and straight away they get to a Champions League final. And then the next season, unfortunately, win it. So for me, it's more about the structure than just having loads of money.
Well, talking about Champions League finals and FA Cup finals as well, the game itself had them FA Cup one-off, Manchester Derby, the chance to stop our prestigious treble from happening again. Can we do it? Do you have any positivity at all heading into that one?
I had a bit of positivity, and then I was watching City last night play Real Madrid, some of the best midfielders in the last 10 years off the pitch.
Looked leggy though, didn't they? Just on that. They looked like Modric, Cruz. Looked a little bit leggy. I'm surprised Tchouaméni wasn't in there, to be honest. But
I thought that.
Yeah, they were missing a Casemiro they were in that game, I think. But I had to get that in. On our day, look, we can beat anyone. Anyone can beat anyone, especially in a cup final. You never know. Man City have lost in the past. I know they weren't that super team, but they lost to a Wigan side that got relegated. In a FA Cup final as well. So it can happen, and like, there's no excuse for the players now. We know what's potentially on the line. Club history could be, I suppose, matched. It could be, and we want to hold that because it's something that we look back on and we celebrate like the whole time. So we don't want to get rid of that. We don't want to share that kind of like bit of history with them. Because many will say, oh, they've managed to gather more points. They've done this, but we played more games over the course of the season. I think Ten Hag might have a plan. I'm just worried we're lacking that kind of striker up front, that one chance, because you've seen how we're not clinical up front. We're not, and it's a major issue. And you need to be taking your chances. I'll probably just surrender at that point if I see Weghorst on the team sheet an hour before kickoff. I'll probably just try and commit at that point. But look, on our day we can beat anyone. We already beat City. I was at that game in January and we beat them. We came from behind. So even when all hope is lost, we can come behind and actually win. Our players just need to put everything. I want them to die on the pitch that day.
Yeah. That's it, mate. Absolutely agree with that. And Dave, Adam mentions the depth there. We've spoken about it a little bit before, but for me, that's an issue going forward with Manchester United. I look at the age profile of the squad, and obviously some of them are absolute, world class, in top form at the minute. Some of them are a little bit shaky, but you've got players like Casemiro, 31, Eriksen, 30, Varane's 30, Bruno's 28. And if you're looking to mount a challenge and compete at a very top level, I'm not sure these same players are going to be there. Exactly. If you look at Arsenal squad, for example, I think their average age is like 25. Like, the talents they've got, I don't want to rave about Arsenal because it's a United fan channel, but you take my point. Like, is that a worry for yourself? Do you think the recruitment's going to have to be spot on within the next couple of years if we're to compete in these big finals like this?
Yeah, recruitment's probably like the most important thing you can do at like this sort of, probably at any level, but definitely at this level. Aging players is definitely an issue, especially if we're looking to make long-term projects work. The only positive you can really take from it is we've got a lot of these players that are quite good now, so you can maybe make something work for the next couple of seasons max. But then you've got to start looking at recruiting the way that City have done and Arsenal have done, and to a slightly lesser extent Brighton have done. We can't just keep doing this model of like, oh, this guy was really good a couple of years ago and he's probably still really good now. Let's get him now for like 2 years and then do the same thing again 2 years later. You know what I mean? We can't keep doing that. It's not good. It's not a good model.
Well, Jay, we spoke on, I remember when we did the preview, what game is it for now? The last preview I ever did when I was on Paddock with yourself, and I asked you about Christian Eriksen. It was what, sorry?
Was it Spurs, was it?
Yeah, it might have been a Spurs preview. I don't know. I've done that many. I can't even remember. But yeah, we speak about Christian Eriksen. It seems like his battery's going a little bit flat. I remember you saying at the time, like the creativity that he offers, it's kind of worth having him on the pitch. But this kind of falls into my point as well. Like, where's the next Christian Eriksen? Where's the next Casemiro? Where's the next? You see Madrid, like the revamping they're doing in their midfield. Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, Jude Bellingham potentially in the summer. Would you prefer to go for these more younger talents heading into this summer?
See, I would, yeah. If it was up to me, I would look at bringing in players that are probably a season or two away from the levels you got. In terms of like replacing those players you mentioned, I think you can get another season out of Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno's got a few years left in him.
Yeah,
but I think you could bring in a younger midfielder. Maybe there's the kid from Southampton. Is it Lavia?
Lavia.
Well, I know he's got ties to City, but I think you could probably get him or someone like that. Maybe. I doubt it because he's not really had much of a chance. But I was hoping that Zidane Iqbal might be that guy in a couple of years.
He didn't kick on, did he?
He's playing catch up. I know the door's not shut on his United career, and I hope it works out. But it's not looking too likely at the minute. But I think you might need to do a little bit more long term because we've done all the short termism. And if we just went out in the summer and we go, right, let's just go complete turbo and go and get, 3 or 4 more 29, 30-year-olds. And if we don't win a league that season, then we're starting again the season after. Whereas if you buy, 21, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds even, and it doesn't happen for you next season, then the season after might be it. That might be the one. Someone, I think it might be Brian Casey or someone was in the chat saying United had a long-term plan when Sir Alex came into the club. I'm old enough to just about remember that. And I remember when I was very young, the Scousers won everything. They just kept winning titles, kept winning cups. We won a couple of FA Cups, sorry, but they were the dominant force. And it wasn't a case of Fergie came in and we won the title straight away. We didn't. It took him 6 years, I think it was, to win the title. But he was building things towards that, improving the scouting, improving the infrastructure, improving the training facilities, improving the team bit by bit, getting rid of some of the players that were up to standard, bringing in younger players that were up to standard, and we began to win trophies. And now Ten Hag could do that. He could do it that way, where he goes, right, okay, we've already won a trophy this season, getting back into Europe, hopefully, Champions League. Next season, maybe is a season where we're in the conversation for a title challenge. We don't win it, but we're second or third going into April. We're within touching distance. You go, okay, so they've got a bit of experience. Then the following season, it's a proper title challenge where you're in the mix right to the death. And you might not even win it then, but then the next season could be the one you did. And I'd take that. I'd take that if it took 3 or 4 years for us to win a title. I would.
Yeah.
But you've got to have a plan for that. And for me...
exactly what Arsenal are doing.
Yeah. Like, the only thing, flaw I think with Arsenal's plan, you're right, is there's 2 things that I think are going to undermine them. One, I don't know if Arteta's that guy. I don't know if he is. I much prefer Erik Ten Hag than Mikel Arteta as my manager. I just do. And 2, I always think with Arsenal, there's a danger that when some of these players get to a certain age, they'll move on. Historically, Arsenal lose their best players when they get to a certain level. We took Robin van Persie off him. City took Nasri off him. Adebayor. It just happens. At Barca took Emmanuel Petit and Henry off him. Very rarely do Arsenal players stay in their peak at Arsenal in the Premier League area. They just don't. And I think someone like Martin Odegaard, for example, Saka Mike's, he's a gooner. Martin Odegaard, for example, when he's 25, 26, if someone like Real Madrid came in for him, I think he'll go. Even maybe Martinelli and players like even Saliba. I think they're players that they might struggle. So I get your point because they have got a young team. But I wouldn't be surprised if that team, as historically happens with Arsenal, starts getting the bones picked out of it in a year or two. Because some of them players ain't going to stick around if they're not winning titles. So I think United just have to sort of have a little bit more long-term planning. And you can have your cake and eat it. You can have long-term targets come in and still win things. We won a trophy this season. We were in a final under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We won trophies under Jose, and we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. You can win things and gradually build. The trouble we've had is we've won things in the past, post-Fergie, and not built. 2017 should have been the start of building something. It wasn't. The next season, we brought in Matic and Lukaku, and I think Victor Lindelof. And Matic and Lukaku, Matic was, I think, almost 30. and Lukaku gave us one decent season, and that was the end of him. So yeah, we just need to sort of have a little bit more foresight and be willing to take that hit of maybe another season not challenging the way we want to, but it'll be worth it in the long term.
I just think Erik ten Hag needs his players, his kind of profile players in the squad. You look at Pep, every single one of them players that are in that team right now are his players, basically, who he's signed. We've got players from Fergie's era, from Van Gaal, from Jose Mourinho, from Ole, and now Erik ten Hag. So it's this like kind of weird blend of players who really should probably be moving on. And then you've got players who...
It's mad that, innit? It's mad like you say, sorry to insult you, but Fergie's era, we have our goalkeeper's Fergie signing.
Jones.
Well, yeah, Phil Jones as well. Forgotten man.
Yeah,
but you're right, and there's nothing wrong with that if those players are amazing and he bought them when they were teenagers or whatever, and they're still around. But it just sort of shows that we go through this stage of we back a manager, like we backed other than Moyes, we backed Van Gaal, we brought Luke Shaw, Ander Herrera, Di Maria, Falcao, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Depay. I feel like I'm missing someone. Whoever, Victor Valdez. Sorry?
Matteo Darmian.
Thank you, Matteo Darmian, yeah.
Oh, he's in the Champions League final now.
I know. Yeah. Well,
but we backed him, didn't we? We backed him when we went Turbo in those 2 windows under him. Then he gets sacked. Then Jose comes in, Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Zlatan, Bailly.
God, what a window that was, Jesus.
Yeah. And then the next season, it's Lindelof, it's Lukaku, it's Matic. Then the season after that, when you finish 19 points behind Manchester City.
Yeah, that was unforgivable.
What do you do? You bring
Fred
in
and Dalot and
Lee Grant.
Yeah.
And City went out and bought Riyad Mahrez, who just won a title with Leicester and was PFA Player of the Year. Like, that is not a plan. So
the only window with me, Jay, was the one that killed me. The one with Donny and was it Donny, Cavani? Who else was in that window?
Do you know what? That window showed to me though? That you had too many people at United who weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
Because that window, we spent, was it 15 million on Facundo Palestra, 25 million rising up to 37 on Amad Diallo, 35 rising up to 40 on Donny van der Beek. Then who's the other one I'm missing? Alex Telles.
Cavani or Gallo that season? Just remind me.
That was Cavani that season.
Cavani won it,
another 10 million on Alex Telles. So all those signings together were around 90 million quid. But the manager's got sacked before 2 of them have even kicked the ball for United. Where was the plan? He obviously didn't fancy Donny. He obviously didn't need Amad Diallo right now or Facundo Palestra right now. The only ones he bought that he needed were Edinson Cavani and Alex Telles, just because Luke Shaw had gone off the boil a bit. But I think if you had someone working in tandem with a manager, the manager could have said, listen, I need a DM. Every single United fan I spoke to, almost to a person, knew we needed a DM. Yeah. And why, now, listen, I'm glad we didn't get him because I think he's a horrible person and I wouldn't want him in my squad. But Thomas Partey was right there with a buyout clause. Why weren't we even looking at him? Or someone like that. There was players available, but we just didn't. We didn't go for it, and it cost us. And then you go back to the following season, and it was, Sancho's a long-term target. He comes in, Varane comes in, great stuff. Then Ronnie comes in, and then you're thinking, okay, Ronnie, fantastic. But does the manager want him? Is this the plan, or is this a signing that's always been forced on him or whatever? It just didn't seem to work, did it? It didn't seem to. There's no cohesion there. Whereas you look at the likes of Liverpool and City, it looks like whoever's making the decisions is working with the manager, not against him.
Yeah, that's it. And this all ties into literally everything we've been speaking about, recruitment, the new owners that are coming in. It's all going to affect us going forward in the future. Hopefully not too much. And we can start getting these signings through the door. We've hearing news about Kim Min-jae from Fabrizio Romano that we're apparently solid interest, but we can't really do anything until the ownership things. You've seen links with Rabiot, seen talks about Harry Kane. We can't get any of this business done, lads, until the ownership does get sorted. So I'm hoping it does very, very soon. We've got quite a few people in the chat. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're going to go into the Q&A section now with Jay. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, drop them in the chat and we'll read them out for you. And then obviously Adam and Dave, you're more than welcome to throw any yourself. I just wanted to kick it off with Jay, sorry. A slightly different question. But what is your proudest moment on Paddock or Full-Time Devil? Since you started doing this, what is one thing you look back at and you think that is definitely by far the moment that makes me the most happiest?
There's two moments that made me the most happiest. Well, there's three, if I can, sorry to broaden it. There was
Trilogy.
obviously the interview with Fergie was unreal. It was only a few minutes, but it was just amazing.
That's all you need.
Something I'd never done as a journalist, and to do it, and then to be the first fan channel to have Sir Alex Ferguson on was just phenomenal. City away when we beat him 2-1. I was standing in for McCullough doing the fan cams, and we beat him. It was the one where Ollie was under a bit of pressure, and we beat Spurs and we beat City in the same week. And everyone thought if we lost those two games, he was going to get sacked, and he won them both.
Yeah.
And I did the fan cams, everyone piling on, everyone shouting it, but in a good way. Was phenomenal. And then just recently, we did an interview with Andy Cole.
Yeah.
Literally an hour and 40 minutes. And we didn't clickbait it. It wasn't Andy Cole tell us, should we get Kane or should we get Victor Osimhen, or Andy Cole, tell us who you think United are going to buy this summer, or whether you think Ten Hag's going to get sacked or anything like that. It was just about him, his career at United, and all the stories that, we wanted to talk about and the games we wanted to talk about. And it was me and McCullough and Andy Cole just sat there for almost 2 hours, and I just loved it. And the response was great. He really enjoyed it. We had a great chat with him, and that was probably one of my proudest moments on the channel, because I just felt it was the sort of thing I wanted to do. Just sit there chatting like we're chatting now, with one of my heroes, and just having it nice and relaxed. And we could have clickbaited it, or we could have split that interview into 5 different parts or whatever, and
didn't need to
tried to make it was just,
to.
this is all it is. This is just two, 3 lads chatting, and the response was great. So yeah, those are my 3 proudest moments. But listen, without sort of, being over sentimental or pandering to the crowd or whatever, I'm just grateful for the opportunity I've got to sit and talk about United. I'm always grateful to come on channels like yours, and I come on here because I'm lucky enough to be able to choose what I do, and I like coming on here because you guys, top lads, talk a lot of sense. I know you're passionate Reds. We might not agree on everything, but we all agree on the fact we love Manchester United, and it's good that I'm able to sort of have you guys on my channel as well, on our channel, I should say. It's not just mine, and sort of reciprocate, because that's what I like to see. And I think there's too much division in the United fan base, to be honest with you. So it's always good to see channels sort of working together.
Yeah, you've been nothing but great for us, so we really appreciate that.
Not
and one can only dream as a channel, as a collective, all of us together can do similar things if we ever get to that point where we're interviewing our heroes, because that's absolutely amazing. I'll get into the chat in a second, a couple of questions, but Adam, Dave, if you've got anything you want to kind of fire away, then go for it.
2 quick questions anyway. Being Irish, I thought I'd stick with that Irish team. Who's your favorite kind of Irish player, Jay? And I'm someone who believes I think we need 2 strikers right now. We don't need
my man.
One. I think
man.
Yeah.
Get this kid on here every week. Hey, tell you what, you're coming on the next video with me and Alison, and you can fight my corner, brother, because I'm in a minority here. I always say that. Thank you.
We need it.
We do. And also, I will say, I should have mentioned this when you asked me my proudest moment, and you've just flagged my memory. We did a live event in Dublin, and it was phenomenal. Just the response was great. We had a top laugh. So yeah, it was great. My favorite Irish player is the same as my favorite player. It's Keano. Love Roy Keane. Like, epitomizes everything about Manchester United that I love. That not just the never give up, the leadership, the always get stuck in, but also a fantastic footballer. People forget that. People think he was just running around the pitch shouting at everyone. He was absolutely outstanding. If he was a footballer now, he'd be worth about 200 million. Seriously. You see the figures that are bandied around for someone like Declan Rice. Come on. Keano had everything. Everything. His touch was minute. He could score goals. He could pick a pass. And he could tackle. And he could read the game superbly. And he motivated everyone around him. Just him and Brian Robson, ask me a different day, you'll get a different answer. But those two are the two sort of the benchmark of any midfielder for me. So, yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, you had your best moment on Paddock. I'm just wondering what's the moment you think, oh wow, that was horrible. I wish I never did that again.
That's what we want to hear.
That's a great question. Yeah, I love that.
Oh, I'm interested to hear this.
I'm trying to think on the worst moment on.
We've all
on
had them.
Yeah,
no, like, oh God, fucking hell.
We've had a couple of ropey things on lives where I can't grass anyone up, right?
Yeah.
We've had
anonymous.
We've had allegedly. We've had a couple of lives where if you go on the channel, you won't see them lives anymore. And there's a reason for that. That's all I'm gonna say. Right? And I'm not gonna go into it. And you know. I'm not. But and there's one that I don't think anyone knows about because it's never been flagged up. Thank God. But there's been a couple of times because listen, we're just lads who chat football, and sometimes you say something, and then you go, "Right, did I just say that out loud on a live video?" I was thinking that, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, there's been a couple of them where I thought that's the end of my career. That's me done.
Yeah. Hey, wait, is this live or a pre-recorded?
That's me messaging the producer as I'm on the live going, delete this video now. Private the video, quick.
Oh,
like,
before it's screen recorded. Yeah, like we've had a couple of those, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm fortunate that we've just about been on the right side of it. But yeah, there's been a couple of moments where I'd say the worst moment as well was the 3-3 against Everton. If you remember
that game. Oh.
Yeah. And listen, there's times on a watch-along, we all do watch-alongs, where you'll rant and you'll shout and you'll get angry and you'll do all that stuff. I get it. But if you watch the watch-along with me, Joe and McCullough, when that third goal went in, it's silence for 2 minutes, bro. Like, there's nothing. It's 3 lads gutted because we all knew that was the end of that title challenge. That was done. There wasn't, oh, well, if City lose the next 5 games, it was over. That was the goal that killed it. Like that was the one moment where you go, that is the end of that. And that was sickening. And we just sat there in silence until eventually I think Joe said, like, full-time 3-3 or whatever. But that was horrible. And I've never wanted to be on video less than that moment. I was just like, honestly, I just wanted to sort of curl up into a ball and sulk because you just knew the title dream, which was only a slim one, to be honest with you. But we knew it was over. Yeah,
I remember actually discussing this with you, and I went back. I even went back and I'd look at it, or I remember seeing a clip of something around it, and it was just like dead eerie, just like you watch something, you're like you can feel it across the screen, and that's not very had that very often, to be honest. When the thing is so, Brian Casey saying, Jay, what kind of a long-term impact do you think the Glazers staying in any capacity would have on the club?
That any capacity is the key. If they've got, and I'm not a financial expert, but if they've got shares that don't enable them to make any decisions, that only enable them to, get a dividend or to sell their bit of the club further down the line, then that won't have a lot of an impact in terms of the footballing thing because they're not going to be calling any shots, and it's them calling the shots that's got us into this mess. I think the impact it will have, though, is it'll still annoy a lot of fans, the fact that they're still here. We want them gone. Yeah. So that's going to be something that if it is Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid that's successful and he does have them still at the club, he's going to have to deal with that because he's going to get a backlash. He's going to get a backlash off fans. Fans will be annoyed. However, if they stay on with a controlling stake or any influence, then I think it'll be disastrous. We can't survive another 18 years of the Glazers as owners. We can't.
Oh God, no.
I don't think we can do another 18 months.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Spot on. I agree. Because if you look at the decline of the club over the last 18 years, we got away with it for 10 because of Fergie or for 9 because of Fergie.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a genius. But post Sir Alex Ferguson, and don't get it twisted, we've had some good managers. Jose Mourinho is a good manager and was a good manager in 2016 when we appointed him. Louis van Gaal is a good manager and was in 2014 when we appointed him. It's just this club isn't built to help managers. You've almost got to win in spite of the owners. Well, you have got to win things in spite of the owners, not because of them. And that's what Van Gaal and Jose did. And that's what Fergie did. He didn't win the Champions League in 2008 because of the Glazers. He won it in spite of them. So no, they just need to go, man. We just need them gone. But if they are going to stay on, it has to be without any say in the running of the club. Because if you have got any say in the running of the club, I don't think we survive that for much longer.
I think if I still know they're taking money out of the club as well, that doesn't sit right with me at all, whether Sir Jim's going to eventually take it over or not.
It's a fair point.
Prashad says, question, if you took charge of MUTV, what would you change? I mean, where do you start, to be honest, in my opinion? But Jay, this is your question, mate. So,
what do you change? Do you know what, right? MUTV, they sort of missed the opportunity they've got. I used to know a lad, Matt, who used to work at MUTV as a producer, and he had so many good ideas that he wanted to do. And the only one they went with was the podcast. He came up with that, and that's still going. But you've got all this access. You've got all this, you can talk to the players, you can talk to the manager, you can talk to ex-players, you can do all this stuff, and they don't really utilize that. And I definitely get fans more involved. Get some fan opinions. The trouble they've got is I've done stuff with him once or twice, just as a favour to him when he was there. And you can't even say anything mildly critical. You can't even go, Luke Shaw's had better games than he had today. That's not going to get aired. Or we're in a bit of a tough position now. I don't know if the manager's the right man to get us out of that. Never. That's never going to air. So yeah, I just make it a little bit more. The best thing to do with MUTV would to make it more independent. To say, look, this is part of Manchester United, but it's his own entity. So it's not beholden to the manager and the club and all that stuff. So you can get some opinions on there without upsetting everyone.
Yeah, it's very very polished media for me. I can't watch like 2 minutes of it. I'm just like, I remember once seeing Lou Macari go in on him, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? He was like proper drilling, being critical. I was like surprised that's even been allowed on the air at MUTV. But yeah, great question.
Wasn't put on after that.
It's
a bit like watching North Korean television at that point.
Isn't it? It's, remember, like, you sat there watching United get, I don't know, I've not watched it for years, but watching United, I don't know, for example, getting beat 7-0 off the Scousers, and they'll be saying things like, oh, yeah, we did well in that first 20 minutes. Like, what are you on about? Yeah. Come on.
Some fantastic questions there. Thank you very much, guys, for getting involved. We've got quite a few people, 75 people in the chat currently. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and obviously, if you haven't seen Jay Motty, you probably come over here for him yourself. But if you haven't, go check him out at Stretford Paddock. All the reviews, morning shows, everything's absolutely bang on over there. Jay, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really, really appreciate it. It's at such late times as well, and you've always been an absolute honour for us, both ways, whether it's been on Paddock or on here. So, thank you very much, mate.
No, not at all, man. Keep up the good work. Always enjoy coming on, chatting to you guys, getting you on our channel as well, and we'll get you on a lot more in the future. So all we got to do now, June the 3rd, come on, pray together. It's one game, 90 minutes away. They can have their Champions League. No one cares about it anyway. Do you know what I mean? We stop them doing the treble.
Do we do it, Jay?
Right. Hear me out. And I've not been back. I've not been back on the drugs. I've not been back on the drugs before you accuse me of that, right?
Okay.
Wout Weghorst has got one big goal in him.
Jesus.
He's got one big goal in him for Manchester United football.
The absolute scenes. Can you imagine?
Right. I'm telling you now, right? My lifetime ban from football is going to come on the June the 3rd when Big Vote scores the 95th minute winner, and I'm on that pitch celebrating with him.
It's like as well, if he scores the winner, I think he'll get a lifetime ban because I don't know what he'll do.
Yeah, he cried when he scored the fourth against Betis.
Fourth against Betis, the 4-1 when we were already winning. He cried at Old Trafford. Can you imagine? Like, he might just get naked. I don't know what he'll do.
Honestly, seriously, he could do whatever he wants. We'll build a statue of him if he gets the winner in that game.
He might hit Pep or something.
Yeah, listen, I'm all for it, man. I've got faith that United will persevere, man. Come on.
So you get Coltero kind of status. He can become a Coltero.
Listen, if he did that in the final, I don't care what he's done for us in the past, but whatever, he's a legend in my eyes. Because if he beats City,
I'm going down, right. If he does that in that final, I'm going down that United Trinity statue and I'm chiseling his face on it, Georgie Best. Seriously.
Oh, I think there's no better way to end the show than that. So thank you very much, lads. Dave and Adam, thank you for coming on as well, as always. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys in the next one. I think we've got what's tomorrow? Friday. My ads everywhere. We'll have the preview for who we play 3 o'clock.
Bournemouth, isn't it?
Bournemouth away. Butlins FC at the Butlins Stadium. We play them on
with the
Saturday,
lime kit.
So we'll have the in the lime kit as well. Yeah, we'll have the preview tomorrow for that. Make sure you come and check us out. Subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. And me, Adam, Dave, and Jay, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.